Hey everybody, this is Fi. Today we're checking out Genokids. This is a game I played in the past. It was quite a while ago, a much earlier version. This is actually going to be a Kickstarter demo. This is coinciding with their Kickstarter, which they've already completely smashed the goal of um, at the time I'm recording this, and we'll be soon uploading it. They still have almost the full month left of the time on their Kickstarter to go. So if you're interested in supporting that and you're watching this, you can go check that out. I'll put a link in the description. But we're going to give this a playtest and see if we can give some useful feedback. Go ahead and jump into the game here. Got this interesting looking title screen. I'm not seeing anything past this point. Definitely looks a lot more polished than I remember from the past. But yeah, it should be quite a bit different, I think, from what little I've seen. Let's go ahead and check out the options for now. Alright, all sorts of options in here now. It is an exclusive full screen mode. Interesting how this scrolls automatically. Okay, I can do mouse in here, so that's a bit nicer. Oh, excuse me. I think I'm gonna set that to off. Oh, render scale, yeah, that's a nice thing to have. Not everyone does that. So if you have a 1080p monitor in particular and you want to crank this up, it'll basically it like renders it at a higher resolution, which smooths out all the pixels for you. So it's really nice. If you have like a 4K monitor or something, it's really stupid to crank that up because you're just getting like massive overkill. We got aliasing, field of view, all sorts of settings. Holy crap! For like a third person sort of almost console-like game, that is a whole lot of settings. Better 3D illumination. See, I don't even know. Improved banding artifacts. Okay, these are things I've not even seen before. Okay, yeah. So some of these things are like I don't actually know what they are. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, oh, you know what you could do is you could put like a little tooltip or something. Like if you hover over the option, maybe there's like a description that pops up somewhere on screen, might give a little more info. Because that's kind of my first thought is like if players are looking at this and they're looking at these things that they don't actually know what they are, kind of less than ideal to have so many options. You know, you could make some of these decisions for them probably, but maybe with some descriptions or something. I don't know. But got FSR, we got FXAA. So FSR is the new AI upscaling, right? From AMD, I believe. I've never even used before. Very interesting. Just gonna leave things as they are for now. There's like too many things to fiddle with. We got graphics, sound, language, input. So input mapping, I believe, is currently not functional. Camera rotation speed, interesting. Oh, we got the invert axes. And our sound options. We got music, ambient, sound effects, user interface, and voices. Interesting. Cool. So, let's look at this real quick. We've got the voice actors, I believe. All right, let's get into this properly. So I do have an Xbox 360 controller, which I'm going to use for this. Right.
Yep, guess we're not crossing through here.
Not with that attitude.
Here we go again. Let's see.
Look at it! It's a very jumpable jump. What are you talking about? Let's go!
Hey, there's a ride that flies right into the castle. Were you really about to jump off just now?
We are, yes!
What? No! We'll go to the flying ship and see if we can still use it.
You mean that kiddie ride?
It's not a kiddie ride.
All right, we got Nice tutorial here. Okay, it does. I touch the controller, it switches to the little gamepad icons here. Move around using left stick. And roll using X while moving works on both ground and in the air. Oh, that's interesting. Also functions as a double jump. Sprint automatically after running for a few seconds, but if you roll and keep moving, you will do it immediately. Oh, cool. Okay, this is right triggers flow. Now I do notice that VSync is definitely active at the moment, even though I thought that I had switched that off. It does say off here. I wonder if this is... Okay, so I think this is just not working because so in the top left here I have the little Steam overlay has the FPS counter, so you can see it's locked at 60, which it should not be. In addition to the fact that nope, I see screen tearing. Okay, that is strange. Why would it say 60 FPS? Is that like a really weird coincidence that I'm just rendering it at exactly 60 FPS, or is that maybe there's you might have oh yeah, FPS limiter is right here. Okay. Ah, look at that. I didn't even see that before. There's just so many different options. It didn't really occur to me. All right, so I'm gonna set that to 120. That's usually a nice. It's double my refresh rate, so it's usually a nice thing to aim for. So that should give it a little bit less latency on the input, anyways. Yeah, all good. So we've got that's not the X button. Right, there's the X button. Oh, okay, so you don't have to hold it down. Just press it once. I run, then eventually, I guess. Eventually it starts running. Okay, now there's a baddie. Kind of wanted to fiddle with that a little bit more before going on. Yeah, actually, kind of nitpicky, but I think it would be a good idea to do more movement stuff before ever touching the combat for your tutorial. So what I mean by that is, you know, give some like somewhere to go or something so that you can kind of start incorporating the movement into the gameplay, and then, you know, building that muscle memory and have the player go from A to B, and they can practice the jumping and the rolling, running, whatever for a little bit. And then, like, once the player is like done that, then, you know, move on to this. Basic attacks is press B, which is kind of a strange button for this particular controller, but I guess I'll have to live with that. Press Y to launch it into the air. Airborne, you'll launch them back to the ground. Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's probably not the... Oh, okay, so I accidentally did things here. Probably not the button layout I would use for the Xbox 360 controller. But in the future it'll be rebindable at least. But yeah, for the defaults I'd probably use like the A button. It seems like the A button would work for the roll. I don't, maybe there must be a jump button, right? So maybe that should be jump. It just feels to me like the X button would be natural for the attacks. So maybe just switch X and B or something. I don't know. Alright, blue bar under your health is flow. Attacking, blocking, or dodging with the bar, allowing you to use powerful special attacks. Holding right trigger, you will open the flow menu. You know their name, cost, and input to trigger them. By using blue's turbo thruster by pressing right trigger B. Okay, so I want to experiment here a little bit more. So looks like we can't go very far. There is a jump. That'll go down. Okay, so you can just use the Y button at any point in time. You don't have to do it like in a combo or something, which is interesting. So I can just do this. Yeah, I just took my hand off the controller like scratch my face for a moment there, but okay, there's a lock on button. So here's our flow menu. It's kind of unusual, I guess, to kind of go into special moves. I feel like you never told the player how to jump or like these other things like locking on and stuff. It seems like you would do that later probably. I find myself wanting to do okay. So do you have invincibility when you do a roll? Oh. Hello. Alright, I'm assuming that is invincibility. Apparently there's a block button there. Oh. Okay, I think I know how I did the block, but it hasn't told me about that yet. So lock on an enemy to focus your attacks. Reticle is yellow, it means the character will automatically choose the nearest enemy to attack. Press right bumper to manually lock one. And the reticle is yellow. Oh, you can cycle through targets by pressing left stick. Okay. What is this? Okay, yellow. So yellow is not locked on, but this is locked on. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm I want to press one button to do the attack. The X button, but it's not. It's B. Okay, so I can just cancel this guy's attacks. Interesting to know. Now is there... Here's our flow menu, and we've got... Okay, I didn't mean to do what I just did there. That's okay. Looks like jet saw. So, okay. It'd be a lot nicer if this menu was laid out in this sort of diamond shape that your average typical gamepad has the face buttons laid out on, because then you can just use you don't have to think about which button is which. I look down there and like I see B and I have to think, okay, which button is the B button or whatever. If it's just laid out spatially in this diamond shape, I don't have to think about it. It's just the left button, the left face button, or the right, much easier to just instantly identify which button is which that way. So I would definitely recommend that for this kind of menu. Especially since like I haven't even like used the gamepad anytime recently, so I'm not as familiar. Obviously I've played plenty of games in the past with this controller, but I don't look at that and like instantly think, okay, X is that button. I have to take like a little brief moment to think, okay, which button is that? I'm looking at the prices. I do notice you also have to look, like, you look at the bottom left and then you see like the little bars that show the prices. I have to look all the way to the bottom right of the screen to see how many blue bars I actually have. So what you might do is just like move the blue bar over to the left or something. Just put the two things on the same side so that you can see like the prices and how much flow meter you actually have without having to look on opposite ends of the screen. Look back and forth. A little bit awkward, so that'd be something that'd probably help. It's like destructible environments here. All right. So I feel like it's jet saw. I guess I can't just try all of these because I don't have enough blue juice. Oh, apparently I had enough to do. Oh, that one only costs one. That's why turbo thruster. Okay, so I feel like the turbo thruster is a mobility option That's going to be important to keep in mind for doing, keeping these combos going and moving between multiple enemies and stuff. But it's the kind of thing that takes a little bit more experience with the game, it seems like, to get used to that kind of thing. Alright, character switching, so it looks like it's going to be on the D-pad. Red has a different moveset. You can charge up attacks by holding the button. Oh, that's cool. Shorter range, but hits harder, especially when charged. Has his own set of flow specials. So everyone has 4, apparently. So you have 4 characters, 4 flow specials, presumably, which makes for a lot. So switch off and experiment to combine their strengths in battle. Alright, and yeah, presumably you can do all the different, you switch and then you could do a lot of different combos and stuff between all the different specials and all this, I imagine. Which is really interesting, but kind of feels like it'd be hard to do much of that in the scope of this video because I haven't played before. But we're going to give it a shot, so it looks like it's going to be on the left. It's going to be Mr. Red Person. Just charges up. Oh, okay, so he has multiple charge levels. I was kind of hoping there'd be a third one. I guess there's 3 technically, but... So I'm thinking... Okay, that hurts. It does... Oh, I don't know what actually just happened there, like why I just stopped. But it does look like you can kind of influence which guy you're going to hit by just moving the left stick. Like while I'm sitting there charging the attack, it looks like it kind of... Or does it? Maybe it's... No, it does. Okay. Oh, so yeah, I'm not sure if that's a bug or something. Like sometimes it just kind of stops short. Didn't really expect him to miss that attack there either. That was kind of strange. So that's a little strange how I guess I just dodge rolled into him and kind of the collision kind of canceled. Might be a few little bugs here and there. Alright, so... Revisit the tutorials anytime in the pause menu. Okay. Yeah, it seems like it kind of covered the most important things. I don't think it ever told me how to jump, but jumping is jumping. What about the left trigger and bumper? Are those being used? Curious about that. Or maybe it's I know there's like some like super mode or whatever that you can unlock at some point. Green icon signifies a parkour spot. Oh, okay, left trigger for that. So I guess there's still more tutorial. You can also use this to lunge toward flying or far away enemy. Oh, that would have been good to know. So one thing I want to point out is, so when I'm fighting the enemies, I don't have a sense of like how much health they have and how much damage I'm doing. That's something that occurs to me. So, for instance, like I have a certain perception that like different attacks are probably doing different amounts of damage. But I don't know what it is, so I'm not really sure how to kind of piece that together in my mind, like what attacks do what kind of damage. I'm not really sure what to do about that exactly. I mean, obviously you can do the whole damage numbers or whatever. I know people really don't like that. I'm not saying it's a good idea. It's just like I don't know what else to do. But that's just something that occurs to me. Be curious to know that, like what. Like, do they all have different values, or are they like mostly the same, except for like a couple are more, or I don't know. So it was left trigger, right? Okay, so we just zoom in. This looks interesting. Almost looks like you can walk in there. And what is that? Form of crystallized ego. Replenish your strength. Okay, I guess I absorbed it? I don't know. Oh, so I think the green bar is your health, and I think it's higher than it was before. So... Right, yeah, it looks like they put like a little secret thing over here. I think I can get over here fine. Oh, I can go that way. Okay, so I... Right, so I guess this would have been the normal flow, and then they just hit that over there. So expand this button, it looks like, and that just kind of does this. It's nice how you can just kind of instantly go into your normal movement off of this. That kind of feels good to me. It's kind of intuitive, you know? Not getting like weird special controls. I did press the jump button a little late there. I wonder if you have like ledge forgiveness. Like, oh, looks like you have a little bit maybe, yeah. Oh, I was a little too aggressive on the camera movement there. Kind of wish the camera did a little bit more on its own, but I feel like that's hard to do. I don't really have experience with working with 3D cameras myself, but it does appear to be like 100% manual, which means I'm like really using the left stick like as much as or the right stick as much as I'm using the left stick pretty much. So when I break these things, I'm noticing I'm like apparently you're like absorbing it, but it doesn't look that way visually. Like I don't see anything going into the character or anything like that. It doesn't really seem to visually communicate what's happening when I hit that thing. Like I read the little description. You know, a lot of people don't like to read, so that seems like a pretty simple thing. You know, just kind of make something come out and then like, you know, some particles or whatever, and then make them go into the character and that kind of thing. This is very shiny. Wondering, is there like a way to do like first person or something? Oh, you can just change directions while you're doing it. So like look at this closer, it looks like really detailed. Interesting. Also interesting how this has so many like points on which you can figure it. That's kind of cool. I don't know that yeah, I guess it just kind of makes it work a little bit smoother and nicer probably. Oh, you get a nice speedy jump after you jump off of that too. Yeah, I think it'd probably be nice if like even if I have full health or something, maybe if I break one of these, it just like emits like a blob that just kind of hovers there or something. Then if I actually have less than full health, and it would like fly into the character or something like that. But then if I don't, maybe it would just kind of hover around there for a little while. Maybe eventually disappear, but it could just like stay there for a little bit, and then I think that would make sense to me. I don't know. Some of this kind of feels a little bit like not a big deal, but you know, when you have invisible walls and stuff, some people kind of... Oh. That's interesting. Apparently this is where I was supposed to go. But you know, sometimes when it looks... You have these places that kind of look like you can go there, and you can't actually. It can be like a little bit disappointing to people and stuff like that, so... Try and be a little careful about that with the environment designs. Blocking allows you to negate most attacks. I already kind of figured that out. Also protects nearby bandmates. Perfect to follow up with another character. So I have no experience with like switching mid-combat and stuff. Looks like you can switch pretty quickly. Outside that, I don't feel like I have a need to switch mid-combat at the moment. With the kind of enemies that we have. But yeah, it definitely feels like a more advanced sort of thing that you would kind of gradually practice over time while you're playing the game. Not something you want to throw at the person as like a necessity. I'm just kind of spamming attack. Oh, okay, so they do... Interesting. So if you wait for them to act first, it seems if you wait for them to act first, you can hit them out of it. But if you're just spamming this and then they start blocking, then they'll just like punch right through you. That's interesting. Okay. Oh, they do have health bars. Okay. I mean, okay, does that just change depending on which character you hit last, or is it which character's highlighted? Looks like it's... Okay, I'm guessing it's either which one you hit last, or... Wait. No, okay, it is which one is highlighted. Okay, in the top left there. It's kind of hard to see that. I wonder if... I think it'd be nice to have, like... just have bars over their heads, you know? Like... Or at least the one that's highlighted or something. I would probably do that. I mean, I'm thinking, you know, like maybe you can make it an option or something. I don't really see a reason why not to do that, honestly. I'm just wary of some of these things where it's like you have to look all the way into the corner of the screen to see this kind of information, because it's like I don't really want to look up there. I want to stay focused on the action and stuff like that. So I think that would help a lot. And then you could do nice things like you can have, you know what a lot of games do, where it's like when something takes damage, the health bar shows like a red portion where it's like how much damage was dealt. You know what I mean? And it kind of like shows that as red, and then it kind of disappears gradually. And you can do things like that to kind of communicate how much damage is being dealt. That would help a lot, I think. That would make this feel nicer to me, because I'd get, you know, like I was talking about before, I'd get that sense of like how much damage I'm doing, things like that. So apparently you can, let me see if I can test this out. I have to get the target and then, okay, there it goes. Yeah, not very elegant with the combos or anything at this point. Yeah, I definitely think you should, I think it'd be worthwhile to kind of, oh, wait a minute. Hey, the camera is doing stuff. The camera does do stuff. Just have to let go of the stick for a while. I was about to say it. I think it'd be worthwhile to invest a little bit of time into researching, you know, working with the camera a little bit more. They could probably, I don't know, maybe I don't know enough about it to say too much, but might be ways you can make it better. But yeah, it helps to actually know that it does actually do some stuff on its own. I just kind of didn't even realize that for some reason. Right now I'm just oh, interesting how it kind of throws you into a specific angle when you jump off. Kind of expected to have a little bit more control over the direction of that, but doesn't need to be that way. I just kind of, maybe it'd feel nice to have a little bit more control over it there. So I guess I'm just okay, I filled my hype gauge. Oh, I guess the yellow is hype gauge. Alright, left bumper is hyper mode. Once activated, you will regenerate health. Your attacks will get a power boost. Bar will slowly deplete over time, but you can deactivate the form by pressing left bumper again. Oh, interesting. So you don't have to waste the whole thing if you don't need it.
I got you.
Yeah, wrong button. Interesting. Oh, when a bandmate is sent flying after receiving damage, you can switch to another one to immediately regain control. Characters you're not controlling cannot be hit twice, so feel free to swap after being blasted away. What does that mean? Cannot be hit twice. Oh, okay, then that means that Mr. Red here isn't going to get hurt again after I swap. So this is cool. I like this kind of mechanic. It kind of reminds me of I think it was Mega Man X8 actually, which had a swapping mechanic, and it was a little bit similar to this, how that worked in some situations, which I thought was kind of a cool mechanic. So yeah, I dig it. Kind of curious, like, okay, so it's not like you don't get punished too bad for just not swapping, which is interesting. I almost wonder if you might want to like make them like land on the ground a bit harder or something, like have a little bit longer recovery time to kind of encourage the swap. But on the other hand, you know, maybe it's just nice to not force it. I don't really know either way, but that's what occurs to me anyway. So let's just punch these guys, and then so it seems kind of like a simple thing. Like, okay, you can just kind of do like your 1, 2, 3 sort of normal combo, and then like you can press the Y button to pop them up, and then you can do like another 1, 2, 3, and then maybe you press the Y button again or something. I don't know. But it seems like that's kind of an obvious way to combo, but it feels like there's not much else to do with your normal attack. I mean, I'm sure that with the flow attacks, there's all sorts of other things, but I don't know. It's hard for me to wrap my head around all of this. I guess there's just nothing to do but just like... Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. So, flow attacks. I think it would be nice to have... Yeah, I mean, some games do this kind of thing where they kind of have little tutorial parts where they just sort of walk you through doing like more advanced combos and stuff. Just so it's like, just to kind of show players that they're there. I'm kind of thinking about this kind of thing where it's like maybe you just have like this tutorial element where it's just like try linking this and that, and then you can kind of actually see how these different flow attacks work and stuff. At the moment, you're just kind of throwing them all out there to the player all at once. There's also no sort of... Like, you're not unlocking these progressively or anything, so you're kind of throwing a lot at the player, I think. I don't know if that's just, like, if any thought has been put into, like, changing that for the final game or something, like maybe starting with less flow attacks and, like, you can unlock some of them or something like that. Because, you know, there's a big benefit to that where the player just doesn't have this feeling of being overwhelmed with like the options at the very start. It's kind of what I feel like right now. So some things to think about. I think it would be nice to have like a little bit more of a structured introduction to all the different moves, rather than just kind of be forced to just, you know, press all the buttons. It's also really hard to experiment because of the fact that they cost the blue juice. So I feel like I don't want to just spam them and see what they do, but I feel like I have to spam them in order to learn them. So I kind of feel a little stuck, if that makes sense to you. Like I don't like that feeling. It kind of feels icky. So yeah, it would be nice if that was a little different somehow. I don't know if there's a way to... I mean, you could lock the... Oh, apparently you just get the yellow stuff by just running around and not doing anything, but you could always like create like a tutorial situation where you just have like infinite blue stuff like in that tutorial, and then just let the player spam the stuff, you know. That could help a lot. Alright, so that's kind of like interesting. So that spams. Like, I feel like this should be able to hit more than one enemy, which I guess technically you can. Like, if you can get the target to change in the middle of it or something, but that doesn't feel like it's really made to do that, so it's sort of weird. It does kind of subtly, I notice, in the bottom left there, it does sort of subtly gray out the ones that you can't afford at the moment. I think it'd be nice if that was a little bit more obvious. Along with like what I mentioned before about kind of spatially arranging that would make a big difference. That's just that one. Alright, anyways, I'm gonna just hit these dudes. That sort of looked to me like that last hit maybe should have hit that enemy. This is a really sort of almost infinitesimal detail, but there's something to be said for like having your attack hitboxes linger. I'm not sure, but I get the impression that... Wow, I did not expect him to shoot that right into me. Oh, I can like slide down this slope here. Oh gosh, okay. That was kind of rude because I couldn't really see him at the moment because my camera was sort of in the wrong position, but... Oh, so that would have been a time I should have switched, I guess. There's stuff to learn, but yeah, it's hard to deal with this in talk, but I was gonna say something. Oh, lingering hitboxes. So, yeah, if you have the character's hitboxes like instantaneous, like the you know, 1 frame or whatever, sometimes that can feel a little bad because it can sort of look like an enemy kind of worked his way into the attack itself and didn't get hurt by it, if that makes sense. So if that is the case, I would recommend having the hitbox linger for a short period of time so that it's a little bit more forgiving on the timing there, where, you know, maybe you're hitting one guy but then like another guy just like inches his way in and you think, you know, the player might think, oh, that attack should have hit both of those guys or something, and it only ends up hitting one. Like, especially if you have this visual and like you have this arc of the sword that's still kind of on the screen, but it's not like the enemy's inside the arc, you know, but it's not hurting him, that kind of thing. That's like, that's when you get into the range of like the player kind of feels a little bit like, oh, maybe that should have counted, but it didn't. So there's something to point out. Ugh. See, I don't particularly like the idea of projectile enemies like shooting at you from off screen. It seems like it's hard to keep this guy on the screen. It seems like he wants to like actively get off the screen or something. Alright, I gotta get used to the dodging and blocking, how it's kind of on the same button and everything. Okay, I had no idea what that was gonna do. That didn't help very much, did it? Alright, so I guess we can press this button. That is not the attack button. Yeah, I just have no idea how to incorporate the different flow attacks into the combos, so yeah, I think a little bit of something here and there to kind of work that into the new player experience would be helpful. It was a little weird. What? Okay, never mind. Something over here? Oh, again with the invisible walls. That's a little bit annoying. You can kind of, you know, you can avoid this with environment design. Just kind of make the visuals match the collision geometry a little bit more. Guess I can just fly to this? Yeah, I can. That's interesting. Alright, we got little obstacles here. I assume I could just roll. Oh, that did hit me. Maybe I rolled too early or something. I wonder if I can... Oh, I can move the camera with the mouse. Kind of interesting. It's inverted now. I mean, this is inverted from what I expect with the mouse, but it's not for the stick. I guess it would be on the same setting, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's a different setting. Why are these just sitting here? Oh, there's gonna be enemies. So I'm still in the air, so I did this ground pound. So how do you change targets again? Oh, okay. I wonder if you might benefit from having iframes when you switch characters. Like maybe it could also act as like a little bit of a dodge, at least like really like a brief window or something. I think that might feel nice. But yeah, I'm not really sure how to like change how to attack different enemies. I think it said to use like one of the thumbsticks. And I think it might be the left one, but it feels pretty sticky in general. Okay. Oops. See, I'm just trying to see if I can get the little target reticle to move where I want it to. So it doesn't seem like I really can. Like if they're going to be separated, probably going to be easier, right? Because it seems like if you just run towards them, it kind of does it, but if they're kind of grouped up, it doesn't seem to let me easily switch. Or is there... Okay, if it's blue, I'm trying like the right thumbstick, see if that kind of switches. Because I really feel like... Okay, I'm just killing myself here. I really feel like there should be an easier way to switch targets, because to me, for this sort of game, I think it's really valuable to be able to like have a bit of a flow between multiple enemies, as opposed to just focusing on whatever this enemy, like one enemy at a time, and just wailing on that one enemy until they die. To me, that's a lot less interesting than actually moving back and forth between different enemies, and especially when you start stacking up all the different attacks and stuff, because then you can incorporate an element of your sort of managing the different cooldowns of enemy attacks. It's like one enemy is about to attack you, so you switch to that one and then you deal with him. Maybe you hit him to stop his attack or something, and then you switch back to another one that's about to do this or that. And all right, there's this thing. Oh, wait a minute. Did it say you could press the stick to switch between enemy targets? Was that a thing? See, one of the problems with this style of tutorializing is that when you just explain things in words, you can't really expect the player to remember. And I have a worse memory than the average person probably, but you can only really count on the player remembering something once they've like actually acted it out. They've actually done the thing. So if you just let them read it, it's not really quite enough, so be a little hard, because it's hard to set up the stuff like force the player to do every individual little action, but yeah, I don't know. That's a little bit of a hard thing. It's a little... I feel like I should be able to do wall runs here, actually. That would be really natural, like in a... If this was like Ninja Gaiden or something, I would just be like... Or like, what is it? Prince of Persia. This actually kind of looks like a Prince of Persia. Oh, I thought that was going to go down. Oh, why was I sliding? Was it because there was like this little cutscene moment or something? Like I rolled and then it did this little cutscene and then I was just sliding. Maybe there was a little bug or something. What was it about pressing the thumbstick? Was that when you're locked on or something? The right one kind of resets the camera, which is nice to know, but the left one I don't see it like doing anything, so I don't know what that... I don't remember if that was a thing or not. Oh, that was... B button. That was a little bit annoying. Alright, yeah, this, unblockable attacks. Attacks that are colored blue are unblockable. Stay away from it. Oh, interesting. Okay. That's the wrong button. What's the getaway button? I guess it would be the dodge roll. Okay, it's a little bit hard for me to read, like, because I know he's gonna do the thing. It's a little bit hard for me to read the telegraph there. It's also a little bit short, maybe, but because I'm a little bit fumbly with the buttons still, because I'm like trying to process in my brain what's the quickest way to get away from an enemy while you're in the middle of a combo. Like if I'm airborne, especially, like what button is gonna it's gonna take me away from here? I don't think we really have one. I guess when you're airborne. I have to like land and then like start running and roll or something. I guess an alternative would be if there was another enemy, in theory you could kind of like zip towards another enemy or something. But definitely feels a little weird, yeah, like when I'm thinking about, especially when you're in the air, like how do you get away quickly when you're in the air, or like what do you have for mobility options? If there's only one enemy, it doesn't seem like you really have anything, unless there's like some parkour object around. Yes. What does that say? Blood offer. Oh, wait. Is that like? It makes me think I should like hurt myself intentionally or something on the spikes up here. Wall jumping. Oh, so between walls, I guess. From one wall to the next. Yeah, it looks like you can just kind of do this sort of thing. Oh, okay, it was a little awkward at the end, the angle it kind of made me end up at there. Guess not much to be done about that. I mean, it didn't really punish me meaningfully for messing that up, so. That's pretty fun. I mean, there's not much to it. It's not like, there's not really any skill to it or anything either, but I can sort of imagine like maybe you can mix in some kind of like jumping elements, like maybe you'd have some damage obstacles that you could do some kind of jumping around. Kind of make this into something that actually has challenge to it, you know, like obviously for like an early game thing you wouldn't do that kind of thing, but I'm sort of imagining you know, maybe some sort of platforming challenges in the future. I mean, okay, so technically these things are damaging obstacles. I'm just not really thinking about them as dangerous, but if you you know, have some, how do I explain this? Like I was trying to put my mouse cursor on the screen, that's why I spun the spun the view around there. But if you you know, like have some obstacles in the middle here, like between the two walls, if you know what I mean. Like you have some walls or like some holes you have to jump through, or like, you know, some things have spikes on them or whatever. I can sort of imagine stuff like that you'd have to work around, but I'm just awkwardly running into that thing over and over again because I'm thinking that it doesn't really matter where the reticle goes when I'm doing this, which apparently is wrong. Okay. Interesting. I can't help but think maybe it would be more sort of a consistent sort of thing if you could just press the left trigger anytime, like with or without a reticle on something. You could do like a similar sort of little dash just in whatever direction. I kind of feel like that would make the movement feel a little bit more consistent, because it is a little bit weird that you have this like, it feels almost like really powerful, like the way you can just hyper zip kind of long distances really fast like that, and it's like, you know, really good in, I think, moving between enemies and stuff like that. But as soon as that reticle is just not on the screen anymore, it's like you just can't do anything with this button. So it's sort of this weird thing where you sort of go from having this really powerful ability to just having nothing there anymore. And I also kind of have that feeling, like you might have seen me a couple times. Like I feel like when I get turned back around here, like when I end this, I kind of feel like I should be able to jump off and then press the L button again to sort of, I guess alternatively I could kind of like press the X button to do the little floaty jump or something, but sort of feels natural to me to like jump off of this and press L again to kind of zip forward, because it's what I've been doing the whole time while I'm zipping across these walls. But it doesn't like work anymore after I reach the end of the wall, so it just sort of gets a little awkward. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think that'd be worth trying. Like experimenting with how the game would feel with something like that. Yeah, because I feel like I just want to keep using the same button to kind of continue on with the mobility here, but then it just stops working, or you know, sometimes I end up going backwards because it's still trying to lock me onto the wall behind me instead of going in the direction I'm trying to go. Oh, so again with the invisible walls, this is a little bit weird. This one in particular, I guess. It sort of looks like something's up there, but alright, well, I don't know what... Oh, I got a bumper car. A to leave vehicle, B to honk. X to, X to honk, Y to honk. So is it just like... Oh, you just use the D-pad. Okay, so... There's our boost. Okay, so we can like hurt enemies while boosting, I guess. Does it like... Can we just hold it down the whole time? Oh, nice. Wait, okay, so... Oh, interesting. I'm actually surprised. I guess the reticle here is gonna prioritize the enemies, but I feel like I should be able to like use my little L zippy thing to like zip back into the vehicle, but like the reticle just didn't want to go there. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to have like this sort of control on something that you expect to work like a car. You can kind of hold just hold left and right, and it's sort of, at least while you're boosting, you can sort of do left and right like a car, which is interesting. But it also just kind of goes in whatever direction you press the stick in. So I'm like, this is interesting to me because it kind of, I would have just like given it car controls, you know, like have a throttle in left and right. But this kind of feels pretty good actually. I think the fact that the boost sort of works as a throttle in a way kind of makes it work, which is kind of this. Purely doing this way with the cart here is kind of feels a little bit slow. Like it just takes a while to actually kill the enemies, as opposed to hitting them properly. Yeah, I mean, like, this would be more fun if I didn't have to just do it so many times to actually get them to die. And like, this just kind of becomes repetitive. But, actually, controls and stuff feel pretty good. I do like that. I guess the cart... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, so I was still pressing the right trigger from jumping out of this, and then I just, pressed A to jump, and then I guess it kind of combined the two inputs and ended up using that ability there. So it's this, yeah, looks like I can go up here. Oh, that green thing was trying to lock on over here, so. It's interesting the way that the arrow pointing, sort of the opposite from what I expect. Little chevron there. I kind of expect it to point at the thing that's being locked on. It's kind of confusing otherwise, especially when it's on the top of the screen like that, I think. Like it looks like it's pointing at me instead of me pointing at it, you know? Alright, I just... That looked really stupid. I figured there'd be another invisible wall here, but I ran into it quicker than I expected. And we're gonna slide, then we get a little thing, and I want to go... Oh, that's awkward. I'm gonna go this way just for fun. Alright, there's nothing over there. But it looks like... Go over here. Oh, okay. Nope. I feel like I can go over here. Probably after I do the rest of this jumpy bit. Oh, that crack stops you apparently. I guess I didn't go over there. Oh, so he doesn't move very much in the air here. But doesn't he, Oh, I guess maybe I assume that went further than it does. Like earlier when I tried this before, I thought he kind of had a little bit more of a forward movement when he does that. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing.
Got it.
The sword swings are definitely more forgiving, which isn't a surprise. Oh, okay, so I got my spatial perception was a little off there. This thing is also in motion, so that makes it harder to not run into that while you're trying to fight an airborne enemy here. Oh, okay, that's when you do this.
My turn.
I'm not used to that. Okay, yeah, it's a little weird to reach for the D-pad take your thumb off the stick in the middle of like getting hit by an enemy and reach for the D-pad. But I guess this is something that you would learn. There are just kind of a lot of controls. It's a little hard to learn all of them. I can't really remember quick enough, like which button is the thing to move out of the way, you know, because I'm thinking about so many controls that I'm not yet familiar with at the same time, so I'm not really not able to process which one I need in that moment quickly enough. That definitely hits you a little bit farther than I think it's going to, and also like the range of movement you have with the dodge roll and stuff, it's a little bit weird because it feels like maybe it's a little bit harder to get out of the way than it should be. So if I'm just on the ground and I just, yeah, so like I feel like I'm running away and then I roll and then like I'm still getting hit by it, you know what I mean? Maybe if I time it so I have iframes or something, I don't know, but unless this is unblockable. Yeah, I just feel like the range of it is just a little bit more than maybe it needs to be or something. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, yeah. I was just trying to go and hit the guy, and then I end up running into the thing. Alright, so these spiky... Oh, it just brings me back to somewhere. Okay, I think I'm like right in front of that room. Yeah, these spiky spinning things, I think a little bit more annoying than I would like. It's kind of the nature of the combat. It feels like it's just hard to move around and do your normal combat stuff without just kind of randomly running into those. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the fact that they're moving doesn't help, but I don't know if it's just the nature of putting something like that in this situation that's gonna lead to that. Okay. Oops. Alright, that was stupid. Okay. Where's the So I want to go up to that guy. It's hard to... I feel like there's something I'm missing in regards to like switching the target between different enemies. Ow. Yeah, I should probably use the lock on a little bit more because I'm kind of getting tired of trying to finagle the camera. Oh my gosh, these things. Alright. I kind of do wish that had a little bit more mobility on it. I feel like it would just not only feel better, but kind of synergize with what it's actually doing better. Like, I don't know how much of it's like a balance thing, but if you're just standing, if you're stuck in place, charging something like this, and an enemy can move around, then it's a little bit harder to see it looks like it doesn't reach that far, but it does. But yeah, so it's just a little bit harder to hit a mobile enemy when you're stuck in place if it doesn't have some mobility to it, so it only moves like a little bit. Burped. Once I was in that combo, I didn't feel like I could actually move out of the way at that point. Oops. Hit the wrong one there. I don't actually know what just happened. Is that what, is it like this blue guy's attack or something? Is that what that was? Oh, that's what that was, okay. So does the red guy, does he just tank the damage, or like when he's charging, or does he like actually block that or something? Ow. So I'm almost dead now, I guess, so I don't really want to test it, but I don't know. Well, I guess I ought to try to just beat this instead of fiddling around with stuff too much. Just focus on doing simple attacks and stuff. In general, the controls are a little bit... I don't find them altogether intuitive. I think they're not bad. It's just there's probably some ways that they could be a little bit more intuitive, I think, but you know, it's having the buttons, like two of the buttons kind of opposite of what I would like on the gamepad doesn't help either. But in general, there's just kind of like a lot of things that are hard to do without practice, and I have to kind of think about all of them at the same time while I'm playing, so that kind of makes it a little bit hard. And you know, playtesting like this is just, like, I don't have as much brain focus capacity while I'm playtesting to kind of handle some complexity. I don't know if that guy's meant to be locked in that angle that he is there. See, I don't like getting like locked in these situations. I'm like airborne or something, and I can't, like, I don't have an option to, a mobility option to get away. That's annoying. Okay, that's not the right button. Do a random thing. That's like the powerful one, I guess, that uses the most. I want to see. I feel like maybe the blue guys. Yeah, so blue guys here, they have a little telegraph on themselves, but they don't telegraph like where the attacks are going to be. You know what I mean? So that kind of feels wrong to me, because I feel like it's very easy to not really see what the blue guys are doing, and what I really need to see is that there's like an attack about to appear on this particular space, you know, which doesn't really happen. There's sort of, you know, there's like a little tiny sort of wind up when it appears, but it's not enough to respond to there, so. Oh, that thing is moving. And yeah, so I really want to use the left trigger for just more of like a general mobility option. Like maybe, you know, doing more dodging or whatever. Just the fact that it's sort of already that, but only in certain contexts. It just feels really natural to me, and I've done it like a number of times when I'm like I'm like, I want to get away from something that's about to happen, and I'm like trying to hit the left trigger, and it doesn't actually do anything because it's not in the right context. So, wait a minute. Oh, so if you just stand there and keep doing this, it does that eventually. Anyways, yeah, it's kind of awkwardly. What in the heck? Like, why even have that there instead of just putting them all there? I don't know, but are we like back at the beginning or something? Is this Spook House? The music went away. That's ominous. Oh, okay. This is from the trailer.
Finally.
You know, I always wanted to ride one of these.
Yeah, me too.
Wow, really?
Of course not.
Oh.
That thing's for kids.
No, it's not.
Wait, you actually want to ride the kiddie ship?
No. It was a joke, bro. Man, you're being a pain in the ass. Hey, did you hear that?
Yeah, right. Change the subject.
I'm serious, dude. Something's coming.
No! Shit! All right. What do we call this one?
Valkyrie.
Oh, that sounds dumb.
I don't want to hear that from Mr. Flying Old Man. Now focus.
Oh, wow. It is suddenly here. Lock on. Focus your attacks. When the reticle is yellow, it means the character will automatically choose the nearest enemy to attack. Okay, you can cycle through targets by pressing left trigger. That did not really appear to happen before. Of course, there's only one on the screen, so I can't. Maybe I'll have to like try and start this over and experiment with it a little bit more or something. Wow. Okay. Did not expect any of that. Wow, it's getting faster. Okay.
Leave it to me.
That was way too early. It's a little bit hard to judge that because of the camera angle. Alright, yeah, so being airborne is bad when you have to dodge something, it seems. Wait. Okay, I was pressing the left trigger there and it like wasn't moving, so I got a little confused. Why that doesn't look like it should be hitting me. I'm also pressing the wrong button, so that's not helping. Okay. It's hard for me to wrap my head around, Oh, it's going... What are these squares? I did not think that was gonna hit. Okay, those are, I guess... You hit by the red lasers or something? Okay, the so I can't see what it's doing some of the time, like when it's about to do something. Alright, we'll give it one more go. Oh, so then a little bit annoying to have to go like back to here and what I'm trying to say is I kind of wish it was a little bit quicker to do the retry. I don't really want to see like a game over screen necessarily. Like if it's a game where you can expect that sometimes you're gonna, you know, die relatively often. Oh, the skip doesn't work. It doesn't work.
You know, I always wanted to ride.
It doesn't
one of
work. Ooh.
Yeah, me too.
these. Wow, really?
Of course not.
Oh,
That thing's for kids.
no, it's not.
Oh, you have to hold it. Okay, well, that's not what it said. It didn't say to hold it. Yeah, but what's the lock-on button here? That's the lock-on button. And a hammer on it. We're probably supposed to use low attacks and stuff. I definitely dodged that. I mean, I pressed the dodge roll, but it ended up hurting me anyways. I adjust my seat here. Kind of wish the camera would stay up a little bit higher. I know it's like locked on, so it's... Why is the left trigger doesn't work sometimes? Is it because he's doing an attack or something? It has like more reach when you're in hyper mode, I guess. What is... Okay, yeah. I mean, sometimes the dodge roll doesn't work because of, you know, little... Well, I can't think of the word right now. The margins for the timing and spacing and stuff are just a little bit off, and it kind of feels like... Yeah, see, like that, it's just like I feel like I'm still doing the dodge roll, but it didn't work, so stuff like that can kind of feel bad. Why is it attacking me? I didn't see it doing that. It feels really stupid.
My turn.
Okay.
Leave it to me.
Alright, it's
My turn.
a little hard to...
I got this.
I feel like this is... This isn't good for my playtesting here, because I'm spending too much of my brain on trying to talk about things, and I can't like do it at the same time as handling the complexity of the controls at the same time. So I'm like getting in this space where I can't function in the game or in the talking about the playtest and stuff at the same time. So should probably not continue doing that. But yeah, I'm probably gonna end the video here. Actually, I think what I'm gonna do is go to main menu. I'm assuming that's like the final boss of the demo here. I just want to try the switching between targets again. Let's see if I can... Is it gonna let me do that?
Yep. Guess we're not crossing.
Alright, so there's one enemy. Okay, the lock on. This does work while you're locked on. Alright, so that actually works. but I don't like it very much. So having to press the stick in that you use for your movement, you have to like stop moving. You have to root your feet in order to use this button. I can't do it while I'm running, and that to me, I mean you can almost kind of do it, but it's like a really awkward sort of way of forcing the stick. Like it doesn't feel right. It almost makes me feel like I'm gonna wear the stick out faster trying to do that, you know. So that's kind of annoying. Also, I guess you don't get to choose like which thing it cycles to. Like if there's like 4 or 5 enemies on the screen, I guess it's just gonna choose it for me. And the other thing is it doesn't work like when I'm not locked on. So if I just want to change what the yellow thing is targeting, I can't do that. So yeah, this to me is not really like a proper solution, or I shouldn't say proper. To me, it's not good enough for switching between targets the way I want to. And that's not necessarily an easy thing to do, but there has to be a better way to do it. So something to you know, give you control over. Oh, he's gonna come up here. I was like, I just want to sit here and talk. Something to give you control over what your next target's gonna be. So I'm trying to think of ways to do that. I think having trying to think of what other buttons to use. You're like already using all the buttons on the controller. Like I definitely think like one of the triggers or bumpers would work better for changing targets. But also, you know, somehow incorporate one of the sticks. I think, you know, sort of choose which one you want. I think that would be a necessity. It'd be nice if you could kind of use the left stick and just kind of, you know, tilt it in the direction of the enemy you want, but unfortunately that moves the camera, which is not really something you can combine. So I think your only option would probably be to use the left. Did I say right stick before? I think I. But yeah, I think your only option would be to use the left stick, and even though it kind of like I can't run this way and direct the stick to the other direction at the same time, you know, and things like that. You have to do both. But I think if the little reticle thing was able to be moved around a little bit more with like the direction you're pressing the stick or the direction you're moving the character or whatever, that might allow me to switch this target a little bit easier. Just like I said before, like if they're just split apart just right, then it's like, oh, okay, I can easily like get this reticle to move. But once they're kind of not anymore, I can't do that properly. So that's, you know, it's not an easy thing, but rather than talk about it forever, I think you get the point. Yeah, I'd rather think about that another time. But that would make a big difference. Other things for feedback, in general, the controls are like really complicated. There's like a lot of stuff. So apart from like, you know, kind of some of the things I said before, you know, maybe you can introduce some things over time, gradually and stuff like that. I think it would make a big difference to I really feel like you should have a mobility, just an omnipresent mobility option on your left trigger. So it's not always context sensitive. So you keep the context sensitivity, but then outside of the context, it would still kind of work as the mobility, and that could be like a dodge. I think that would work well. I'm not sure if it like should replace like the dodge roll. I mean, I'm not saying necessarily needs to not be both. But, you know, obviously it's going to change kind of the structure of the gameplay if you have like a really strong mobility option other than that, um, that you can use for dodging. But I just think in addition to being, to me, intuitive, um, there's like a consistency to it. So right now you have like so many different buttons and it's like, okay, well, like I have, like this is my dodge button, but it's also my block button. But like in order for it to be a dodge, I have to not be standing still, but in order for it to actually work, I also have to be on the ground. Like there's so many things to consider that like when I'm actually playing, at least when I'm, you know, as I'm playtesting, which again, like I said, I have a little bit less focus on gameplay because I'm using like half of my brain with talking about what I'm looking at and stuff. But like the amount of little levels to the rules and all the different buttons and everything ends up being like too much to process. So I think there's definitely ways you can simplify that. Like I don't feel like the gameplay itself is being particularly complex. It's mostly moving and, you know, doing some combos and yeah, so definitely think at least having you know, mobility on the left trigger there would help a lot because that would simplify things a little bit more because my finger's always on that. I don't have to worry about the context. Like you understand what I'm saying? Like I don't have to worry about, okay, what button do I use here? Do I block or do I roll or do I need to be on the ground? Am I not on the ground yet? Or, you know, do I have to stand still? I don't have to think about all these things. So I can just, my brain is just like, okay, I have to move. I press L, and then it moves. And that, I think, is the sort of thing that this game is kind of calling for in terms of the design of this game. So, and I think that sort of line of thinking could be applied to maybe a couple other things that would help simplify things a little bit. In general, it's hard for me to get used to the idea of reaching for the D-pad when I get hurt, and I also notice it's hard for me to wrap my head around like what direction on the D-pad I need to press. That's kind of a bit of a bummer. Like if it was just like swapping between two enemies, it would be a lot. I mean, two playable characters. What I mean, technically this is, but you know, this is designed around 4. So if there was only 2 in the game, then it wouldn't be like I have to press a specific direction on the D-pad in order to swap, and that would be like way easier because you know, it's these very split-second decisions you're making, so you don't just having to wrap your brain around like, okay, I'm getting hurt, I need to press, you know, left direction specifically or down direction, you know, whatever. Makes it so much harder to do that in those moments than it would be to just to like if it was just any direction on the D-pad or something like that. If it was just like a button, then it would be massively easier to do that. That obviously would, like, I'm not even, I'm just saying that as like a sort of analysis of it. I'm not saying that you should necessarily like get rid of the 4 character swapping. I mean, it might be worth considering doing that, but I'm not really sure like how else you could simplify that, to be honest with you. One thing that occurs to me is that if I actually had access to all of the characters, then in theory I could just kind of mash the D-pad and just whatever character comes out, you know, at least I got it to switch off of the stun state, you know what I'm saying? So in theory that would kind of at least make that easier. It would be like a little bit clunky because I'm just kind of, you know, I'm not doing anything very intelligent by just hitting whatever, you know, make whatever character come out. But at the least, then I wouldn't have the situation where I have to be as specific with it. Whereas right now, it's like very, like I have to think about, okay, I'm the blue one, so that means I have to switch to the red one. Then I have to think about, okay, which direction on the D-pad is the red one? I don't really know because, you know, I feel like it would take a long time to build that sort of memory up for that specific thing.
I got you.
Say, okay, I have to press left, you know.
Got it.
On it.
So yeah, that's pretty challenging. I definitely feel like that is something that could also hold the gameplay back quite a bit, just because of the complexity of it. So yeah, in general, I feel like that's the thing I'm noticing most when I'm playing this is that there's some of these complexities that are just probably more annoying than anything. Anything else? I might have forgotten everything else I was saying as I was going on that lengthy rant, or anything else I was thinking. But yeah, I mean, this is cool. Of course, I know it has a ton of potential and everything, and certainly, imagining like how it would be if you had your brain fully wrapped around all the controls and everything, and that wasn't an issue. You know, you can see how the gameplay can really open up and everything could be probably pretty awesome. But yeah, I guess the only other thing is that like your basic combos, it sort of feels, I don't know if it feels like too basic or whatever. Like I feel like you have your normal attacks, and then you have this sort of thing that you can kind of switch between airborne and grounded to kind of string things together like that. Something about that just kind of feels a little weird to me, because it just feels like I'm kind of doing the same things over and over again. I know that I keep kind of ignoring the flow attacks because I don't really know how to use them properly. And usually when I do, it's like the wrong thing. It's just like, you know, it's something that takes too long to charge up or something, or like doesn't do the thing that's right in the situation, so it makes me feel like I shouldn't use it, or shouldn't try to. But I like the idea of this guy that blocks your attacks, because he breaks up the flow of what you're doing. But he only appeared like, I mean, I guess those guys appeared later. I don't really remember very well dealing with this sort of blocking thing very much. Another thing is like using red. I don't know.
Leave it to me.
I don't really know like how to make use of him. It just sort of feels a little bit arbitrary. Like the fact that he charges up his attacks and stuff is really cool, but like why do it? You know what I mean? I do feel like if you had, I mean, I could think of reasons why you'd want to do it, but I don't like see that necessarily being presented to me as being in the game, you know. So maybe it's obvious, but you could use it for things like, you know, breaking through an enemy's guard and stuff like that. Like if an enemy just blocks a lot, and you could kind of charge it up and it would just punch through or something. You could use it to, like, if you know the enemy has a certain amount of HP left and like the next attack isn't going to kill him, but if you charge it up a little bit, then you can kill him in one hit and that kind of thing. Like, you know, things like that. But I haven't, you know, maybe something like that is in the game, but I haven't actually like seen it be presented to me as such. So I'd like to see more of that kind of thing, I think. Yeah, so I'm sure there's probably something else I thought of that I just forgot already, but I'm just gonna, this video is gonna go on forever, and I'm actually really tired. It probably doesn't help that I'm like trying to do this while I'm tired, and how complex this all is, but I should probably wrap this up, and if I think of anything else, I'll just let you know. But hopefully this is useful. I know I didn't bother to beat the end boss. I imagine that the end boss will be easier if you use more flow attacks. What is it? Turbo Thruster, Jet Saw. Oops, I didn't actually mean to do that, but that's okay. Oh, so one thing I just noticed, like, even when I was just watching the gameplay footage on the Kickstarter page and stuff, like when the enemies die, it's kind of unsatisfying because they kind of just float away and then they just sort of subtly dissolve. I kind of wish that was something a little bit punchier, you know, like for two reasons. One, because like I said, it's not very satisfying, but the other thing is that it doesn't really nail home the idea that you just killed them. If that makes sense. It hasn't really been like a problem, but it's one of those things where the way the action goes, if I'm just wailing on an enemy over and over again, it's kind of better if like the instant they die, it's just really obvious, and then I can just kind of instantly move on to the next enemy, you know, instead of like having to think about like, oh, they just dissolved like a few seconds later, so I guess it's time to attack a different enemy or something like that. So definitely kind of wish that was had a little bit more oomph to it, you know, maybe just blow them up or just have something that's really obvious, and you can have sounds or visual effects and everything else that kind of denote that. I think that would be nice. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that before I ended the video, but let's definitely wrap this up. Hopefully this is useful. I know it was a long and long-winded one, but it's actually pretty nice looking character art. Hopefully it was useful. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one.